My dad raised his glass and said, "Some kids shine bright. Others just take up space." Everyone chuckled. I grinned and replied, "Lucky for you. I've got my own place 2,000 miles away now. No more space wasting here." The table went quiet. We've never been the kind of family that hugs at airports or calls just to say hi. My parents are the transactional type. Everything's measured. Everything's weighed. You give something, you better be ready to earn it back with interest. Literally, that's not bitterness talking. That's just how it's always been. When I borrowed money for my last semester of college, after exhausting every grant and working 30 hours a week, my dad didn't even blink before saying, "Sure." Then he printed out a formal contract, 10% interest due within a year. Not a gift, not support, a loan. He even added a clause about failure to repay. I was 21, hadn't missed a single class, and was about to graduate. Magna cum laude. But all he saw was risk. Meanwhile, Kelsey, my younger sister, flunked out her first year, came home, stayed rent-free, wrecked her car, and got a brand new one the same week. No contracts, no lectures, just hugs, dinners, and we all make mistakes. That's the dynamic. Always has been. So, when her wedding rolled around, I was already halfway packed to leave for good. New job, new state, 2,000 m away. I hadn't told anyone yet. Not even Mia, my cousin. The only one who ever really treated me like a person and not a walking disappointment. I figured I'd survive the weekend, smile in the pictures, and disappear. The wedding was at this upscale country club outside of Indianapolis. The kind of place where the bread is warm, the waiters wear gloves, and everything smells like money. Kelsey looked perfect, of course, like she always does. Her new husband came from one of those families that uses summer as a verb. They had 3 open bars in a photo booth shaped like a greenhouse. Even the napkins had their initials embroidered on them. I sat at the family table. My dad, my mom, 2 of Kelsey's new in-laws, and a few other relatives I hadn't seen since Grandma's funeral. Everyone was laughing, drinking, reminiscing about childhood memories that I swear were from a different house than the one I grew up in. The whole time, my dad barely looked at me, just the usual passive glances like I was some coworker's plus one. Dinner was winding down when he stood up with a glass of champagne and tapped it with a fork. Everyone hushed. Kelsey and her husband smiled, expecting something sentimental. He started with the usual, "Love is hard work." He's proud. He hopes they'll be happy. Then he glanced around the table and added, "Some kids turn out great. Others just waste space." They all laughed. I mean, it laughed like it was a clever line from a sitcom. Even Kelsey tilted her head and giggled. I watched my mother sip her wine without blinking. It just smiled, picked up my glass, looked right at him, and said, "Good thing I just got my own place. 2,000 m away. Don't worry, you'll never see me waste space again." And just like that, the table fell silent. The laughter choked off mid-breath. You could hear the clink of glasses 2 tables over. No one said a word. Not Kelsey, not my mom, not even my dad. I stood up, grabbed my purse, told them congratulations, and left. No one followed me. No text, no call, not even from Mia. I went back to the hotel, packed everything that night, and booked an earlier flight. I didn't even wait for the next morning. I just wanted out. But the truth is, I didn't cry. I didn't even feel angry. I felt something I hadn't felt around them in years. I felt free. And that freedom, it was just the start. Because I had a plan. I wasn't going to yell or argue or try to prove anything anymore. I was going to win beautifully, quietly, and so far out of reach that they wouldn't even be able to hate watch my life properly. They wouldn't see it coming. The day after the wedding, I sent my dad the final loan payment. I still remember the balance down to the dollar. $3,362.118. He kept track of every cent I had too. I paid it through the transfer app he made me download back when I first asked for the money. I didn't say thank you. I didn't say anything at all. I just attached a note that said as agreed. He never responded. Not that I expected him to. He wasn't the type to respond when something was finished. He was only interested when he still had the upper hand. A few hours later, Kelsey sent a selfie of her and her new husband to the family group chat. Both of them holding champagne and covered in cake frosting. She captioned it, "Best night ever, red heart." Like it hadn't ended with her sister publicly disowning everyone at the table. Then my mom added, "We're so proud of you two. What a perfect start to a beautiful life together." And then came the gifts, hearts, sparkles, clapping hands. Not a single word about what had happened. It was like they all agreed to pretend I'd never spoken. Like if they ignored it long enough, it wouldn't matter. And maybe that worked on Kelsey, but not on me because I knew what came next. They wouldn't talk about it. They'd just try to shift things back to normal and make me feel like the unstable one. That was always the pattern. I'd get upset. They'd act like it never happened. And then if I brought it up again, I was being too sensitive or holding on to things. This time, I didn't give them the chance. When my mom called 2 days later, I let it ring. Then she called again. Then again. The third time I picked up, she skipped right past hello and went into full concern mode. She asked if I was okay, if I needed anything, if something had happened at the wedding. I told her I was fine. Work was busy. Everything was normal. I didn't give her a single opening. She paused like she was waiting for me to say more. I didn't. Then came the guilt lines, the old ones I'd heard 100 times. You know, your father didn't mean that the way it sounded. You have to understand, he's from a different generation. We've always tried to support you in our own way. Support. That word again. Their version of support came with interest rates and sarcasm. It came with conditions, with reminders of how lucky I was, with lectures about how real life isn't easy. Their version of support always felt more like being handed a life jacket after they pushed me in. I said I had a meeting and hung up. After that, I made a decision. No more arguing. No more trying to explain how they made me feel. That was the trap. That's how they kept me in it. Reacting, justifying, waiting for a different response that never came. So, I started planning quietly. I created a folder on my laptop called Event Stuff in case anyone asked. Inside it were resumes, job leads, a growing spreadsheet with cities I could start over in Portland, Boulder, Flagstaff, Asheville, all at least 1,000 miles away. I made lists, cost of living, job markets, climate, distance from Indiana. I started selling things piece by piece. Books, clothes, kitchen gadgets. I posted them online under a fake name so no one would recognize it. When Kelsey asked why I was getting rid of so much, I said I was downsizing. She laughed and said, "That's such a you thing to do." I made it a game. Every time someone treated me like I was a burden, I'd put more money in my escape fund. Every awkward dinner, $20. Every passive-aggressive comment from my mom, $50. Every time my dad threw a jab about my life choices without looking up from his phone, $100. By the end of the second month, I had nearly $2,000 saved up. I kept things normal on the outside, replied to texts, smiled at family dinners, showed up when expected, but I wasn't really there. I was counting down in secret. 5 months left on my lease. 5 months until I left that house, that town, and the version of me they thought they controlled. The best part? They had no clue. About 6 weeks after the wedding, I got a voicemail from Kelsey. She was crying, not loud or dramatic, but like she was trying to hold it together and failing. I sat on my bed and played it twice. She didn't say much, just that she needed to talk and could I call her back when I had time. That was odd enough. We hadn't spoken properly since the wedding. She'd liked a few of my posts, commented cute on a picture of my dog, but nothing real. Not a call. Definitely not like this. I waited a day before calling back, not to punish her, but to feel in control. I wasn't ready to dive into whatever mess she was in. When I finally called, she picked up instantly, like she'd been clutching her phone. Her voice was flat, quiet. She said she and her husband had been fighting. First one argument, then another, then more. He'd been vanishing for hours, sometimes overnight, dodging her questions about where he'd been. Then he said maybe they rushed into marriage, that it might have been family pressure, not love. I stayed quiet, not because I didn't care, but because I didn't want to say what I was thinking. You married a guy you barely knew for a wedding that looked like it was staged for a magazine, not for love. She said she couldn't stay there anymore. Then came the line I didn't see coming. "Can you come help me pack?" I made her repeat it. She wanted to move back home. With our parents. She said she had no choice. She couldn't afford the apartment alone and didn't want to be by herself. I asked why she didn't ask mom and dad for help. She admitted she hadn't told them yet, that she was scared they'd make her feel like a failure. That stopped me. Kelsey, the golden child who always had a safety net and a celebration waiting, was afraid to admit her life wasn't perfect. She'd never said anything like that before. I should have said no. I really should have. But something in her voice felt too familiar, like me 2 years ago when I was drowning and didn't know who to turn to. So I said I'd come. When I got there, she was sitting on the floor in a sweatshirt that used to be mine. The apartment was too clean, like no one really lived there. Half the cabinets were empty. Her wedding photos sat unopened in an envelope on the coffee table. We packed in silence for a while. I didn't ask about her husband or push for details. But halfway through, as she folded a dress she'd never worn, she said it. "You were right to get out." She didn't look at me, just kept folding. I nodded but didn't reply. I didn't want to ruin the moment. It was the first time she'd admitted I might not be the villain in our family's story. When we finished, she hugged me. Not a polite, posed hug for photos, a real one, the kind that lingers, the kind that feels like it matters. I left before our parents arrived. I didn't want to see them or hear their fake sympathy or whispered judgments. I didn't want them thinking I'd earned some kind of moral victory just because their perfect daughter had stumbled. 2 days later, Mom texted, "Kelsey's home for a bit. She's going through something tough. I hope you'll be supportive." That word, supportive, hit differently this time. Maybe because I'd just been there for Kelsey without asking for anything, without making it about me. But I knew what Mom meant. Fall in line, don't bring up the past, pretend everything's fine. I didn't respond. Instead, I added another $500 to my escape fund and set up a burner email to apply for 3 jobs in 3 different cities. I didn't even tell Mia. I was done explaining myself. That same week, I got a surprise interview request. A remote-first job with a creative agency in Portland. High-paying, flexible, way out of my league on paper, but I had nothing to lose. The interview was in 5 days. The morning of, Mom called 4 times before I'd even finished my coffee. I was already nervous, the good kind, but still the kind that makes your palms sweaty and your stomach churn. I hadn't slept, kept rehearsing how I'd explain the gap between my last job and this one. I ignored the phone buzzing on the table. Then came her text. "We need to talk. Kelsey's not doing well. This is serious." Of course it was serious. It's always serious when I have something important going on. I turned my phone off. First time in years I'd done that without guilt. The interview went better than I dared hope. The people were sharp but warm, casual but professional. They asked real questions, actually read my portfolio, even praised a campaign from 2 years ago that no one at my old job noticed. Best of all, they asked where I saw myself in 5 years. I didn't sugarcoat it. I said I wanted autonomy, a place where I didn't have to justify myself constantly, somewhere I could build something quietly and be respected for it. They smiled, like I'd caught them off guard in a good way. After it ended, I just sat there, laptop still open, apartment silent. It felt like exhaling after holding my breath too long. When I turned my phone back on, there were 7 missed calls, 5 from Mom, 1 from Kelsey, 1 from an unknown number, probably Dad's office line. Then Mom's text. "Where are you? Don't ignore this. You're being cruel. This isn't the time to be selfish. You need to think of someone other than yourself. You're acting like a stranger." Then Kelsey's, "Don't come home." I called Kelsey right away. She answered, her voice sharp, almost cold. "They're losing it," she said. "Mom found your papers, the spreadsheet, the cities, your plan." I didn't say anything, but she thinks you're running away to humiliate them. She's telling Dad you're leaving to punish them. She paused, and I heard her pacing, maybe in the backyard or the hallway. "I didn't tell her anything," she added. "But she's digging through your stuff now, looking for more." I didn't respond right away. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but from something final, like a door closing for good. Then Kelsey said, "Just don't come here. Seriously, they're waiting to corner you." It was the first time she'd warned me about them. No excuses, no defense, just calling it what it was. I thanked her, hung up, and stared at the wall. Then I got up, pulled my suitcase from the closet, and laid it open on the bed. I didn't pack everything, just the essentials, jeans I loved, shirts I'd worn to interviews, boots that made me feel strong. I left the suitcase open, like a promise to myself. This is happening. You don't need permission. 3 days passed. I stayed away from my parents' house. Kelsey didn't text again. Mia sent a quick, "Hey, you okay?" But I didn't reply. I was in survival mode. Then, Thursday morning, the email came. "We'd love to offer you the position. Full-time, remote, better salary than I'd expected, relocation assistance if I wanted it, flexible start date." I read it 5 times, not because I doubted it, but because I believed it. Then I did something I hadn't done in years. I celebrated alone. I walked to a nearby cafe, ordered a slice of cake I couldn't really afford, and sat by the window with a pen. I opened my planner and circled a date, 5 weeks out in bold red ink. That was the day. The day I'd leave for good. I was quietly erasing my footprints, canceling subscriptions, changing addresses, setting up a new number, backing up photos, wiping devices. It was deliberate, satisfying. Before vanishing, I needed one final act of closure. Simple, elegant, not the fight they expected. Disappearing isn't dramatic. It's gradual, in the details. Vague answers, subtle changes, until the old you is gone. I had 5 weeks before my flight. I cleared my apartment, sold furniture under fake names, used cash, shut down accounts, changed passwords, got a new phone number. I told no one. Not Mia, Kelsey, or work friends. I said I was subletting, taking a break. They believed me. I moved out early, left keys on the counter, stayed in a short-term rental under a fake name, and wrote a letter. Asterisk, you were right. I was wasting space, but not anymore. No address, no number. Stop expecting anything from me. Asterisk, I dropped it in their mailbox at 2:12 a.m. and drove away. The airport was a blur, red-eye flight. Hood up, earbuds in. No music, just silence. In Portland, the gray sky felt clean. My new apartment was small, light-filled, with an ugly, lovable kitchen. I unpacked, snapped my old SIM card, left the phone on a park bench. I was gone. No social media, no trace. I started my job Monday. No one asked about my past. They just showed me the coffee and asked, Slack or email. I chose email. 2 months later, a message from a recruiter, Lisa Harper, mentioned my old family name. Then a Business Journal article. Asterisk, Pierce Enterprise collapses. Father faces insolvency. Asterisk, my dad's business had crumbled. Creditors, foreclosures, whispers in my hometown. Kelsey moved out too. The house was for sale. Mia sent one message. I still love you. I deleted it. I didn't need her apology, just peace. I pictured my dad reading my letter, met with silence. I've changed, not unkind, but stronger. I built a new life in a city that doesn't know me, with new friends, a job free of my family's shadow. Echoes of their collapse reached me. Bankruptcy notices, empty rooms. They thought I was wasting space, that my silence would break me. Instead, I made room, left their prison behind, and built a life no one can break.